Hi, I'm Joe, and I have a haul. And I think you'll have a pretty good guess of what most of this haul is going to include. I got my Bricklink Designer Program Series 3 orders this week, and here's what I got. I got the Forest Stronghold, which is probably the most popular of the series because it's a castle. The castles, as anybody who has bought Bricklink Designer Program sets, are the ones that go the fastest. And I got the Mountain Fortress from Series 1. I have the Lion Knight's castle, not yet built, the official Lego set. And now I've got a set for the Forestmen. So I've got 3 of the main factions of the Lego castle theme, and I look forward to building this soon. What else do I have? We also have The Art of Chocolate, which is a set that I wasn't going to get, but Alex Nunes talked me into it with his review of the set. I think it's going to go really well with the Winter Chalet that was in one of the preliminary Bricklink programs, especially with all this sand green on the outside. Also, I think that this would be a great holiday set. It doesn't specifically have like a Christmas tree or any other Christmas symbols, but all this red and green here on the outside. And I don't know about you, but I enjoy having chocolate at Christmas, and honestly, just about every other day. And I have one more. Here we have The Lost City, which was one of the less popular sets from Series 3, and honestly, I decided to get this when I first looked at it because I thought it was not exactly a castle set, but looked more like something that Indiana Jones might explore. And I really liked all of this blue-green mix here that makes it look like it's overgrown. Although the more I thought about it, the more I thought, maybe I don't want that one as much. It's really expensive, and the Harbor Master's office set I thought looked really great based on the reviews I saw. So what it came down to was whether to get this set or the Harbor Master, because I couldn't cost justify getting 4 sets in one wave. And really, I probably couldn't cost justify getting these 3. But I decided to stick with my first impression, and this is one I'm really excited to build. And maybe it can look natural next to the Indiana Jones Temple of the Golden Idol set, as maybe something an adventurer would explore. So I'm looking forward to that. But this haul wasn't just Bricklink Designer Program sets. I have a vintage haul. Here I have set number 775. You know a set's old when it only has a 3-digit number, but this is the Firefighter boat. And the reason I'm showing this haul is set 775 was my first Lego set. And I had mentioned in a comment on the A Fool podcast recently that if there were any vintage sets I would really like, then I thought, it'd be nice if I could ever reacquire my first Lego set, which of course I didn't keep. It probably disappeared in a yard sale or something that was cleaned out of our old house. But I always remembered it. It was one of the only Lego sets I had as a kid, and I know that I built and unbuilt and rebuilt it many, many times, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I thought, well, let's see if I can acquire it. Well, on Bricklink, this set is $100 without even including shipping costs in the United States. So that was out of the question. But when I mentioned in a comment on the A Fool podcast that it'd be one I'd like to get, they mentioned something that's like, oh yeah, that's one you can easily get. And I thought, well, the price might be out of my range, but I thought I'll check eBay, and I found this set at what I deemed an acceptable price, and I went ahead and went for it. So let's take a quick look at the Firefighter boat. Now, this was an eBay set. There were no guarantees that it was 100% complete or what condition it was in. I just saw the picture and I thought it was complete enough. And one of the things that I know would be hard to reacquire would be the boat parts. The boat parts are all here. And amazingly, this is a boat that you assemble the hull, but it actually still floats. Modern Lego boats don't float unless you have a single piece hull, and I'll show how that works here in a minute. But I also know that there are a couple pieces missing. Most of it is here, though, which is impressive. The stickers are not in terrible shape. These are old sticker across assembly type stickers, so these two pieces of the boat look like they have never come apart. They came assembled. This assembly here at the top was already assembled. You have this sticker for the life preserver, and you've got the anchors on the front. One of the pieces that's missing, and it's really the only one that's actually missing, is one of these red rails, but that should be easy enough to replace. I also know there are pieces here that are not original, like right here in the front, this window. This is supposed to be two 2x3 trans clear slope pieces, but we've only got one of them here, and you've got a 2x2 and a 1x2, but that piece is not too rare, and I should be able to acquire it. These colored pieces here at the top, though, I know are much more rare because, let me see if I can focus here on the red piece. This is a closed top red cylinder, so it's not hollow. And I know this green piece here is not one of the originals because it is hollow on top. And it's also broken. But since it's not one of the original pieces, I'm not all bent out of shape about it being broken. And that is replaceable, but that is a much more costly piece. That's like $6 or $7 just to get one, as it didn't appear in very many sets. And there are also these black cylinder pieces. These I think might be the originals because they are closed on top the way the red cylinder is. I should also point out you can definitely tell the age on the set because the clutch is almost non-existent on some of these pieces. That's why it was easy to remove from underneath. One of the building techniques that I know I remembered as a kid is you spend a lot of time putting things in between four studs, especially these are supposed to be like the water cannons on the ship, and you've got this special Technic type piece that goes in between. And this is a unique Technic piece, which I didn't realize as a kid, but it actually has studs on the side. Now, this build doesn't tell you to attach anything to those studs, but I thought that was interesting that that's there. That's something I never remembered. So, and anyway, details of the boat. There were no minifigures with this. This boat is from 1978, I believe, but it does have steps to get up onto the deck. We've got this piece here, which is some type of tower and like a radio antenna. And these pieces here also are wedged in between four studs, also on the deck, and you can't really see it, but it's also that way underneath. And that can be kind of a pain because you can, if you don't have these bushings pushed into the four studs ahead of time and you try to put the long Technic axle through, then there'll be more resistance by the four studs and it'll push that bushing up and it won't stay in place. So, and we can tell that a lot of these pieces are yellowed, but I think these should be easy to replace. They're just regular white bricks. You can also see kind of here, we've got some severe damage to some of these black plates where the edges are missing. Here, I'll take a look a little bit closer at those. I mean, that right here, that is one raunchy looking Lego piece. And I'm not even sure what piece that was supposed to be, because I think this is supposed to be a 4x6 plate, but you can see right here that it's almost like somebody just broke off part of a bigger plate to make it fit in this spot. So, and then this part of this piece is also broken off. I don't know. That probably was just the edge of a black brick. Again, those are easily replaced. And I think I will make some effort to restore this a bit more with updated parts to make the colors look better. Plus it needs a thorough cleaning. What I'm showing you here is how it arrived as is. And then two of the other important pieces are these weights, and it came with that too. And these weights are what allow it to float and float without tipping over to one side. They hook on the underside, which has anti-studs here. And I don't remember the exact place, but they go kind of like that. I'll press it in more later. The problem is you can't stand it up while those are on, so that's why I don't usually attach them. And when I had this as a kid, I almost never had those weights attached because I was never allowed to put my Lego in the bathtub or anything else because my mom was afraid I was going to get pieces stuck down the drain. But we'll give this a test here in just a minute. I also had a bonus that came with this haul. It came with a second haul, which I don't know what I'm going to do with, but I'm not going to complain. I don't feel like I paid extra for it. This one does not have the firefighter stickers, and it does seem to have some mileage here on the side, but it does have the anchor sticker on the front and the back. And it allows me to show you, why does this float for something that's assembled? I mean, sure doesn't water get in through the cracks here? Well, when you take it apart, and it's only held on by one row of studs, you see that each individual piece is self-contained. So it's not like water is going to get in between the cracks. If it does, it just goes between the pieces. And I'm sure if it gets high enough that it would get in under the plates, but this is supposed to float, and the instructions even say so. In fact, the set did come with a box and instructions. It didn't come with all of the box. It came with the outer box, which is in better shape than I would have thought. It was certainly in better shape than the one I had only a few years after I had it, but I had also built and rebuilt it several times. The box also gives you suggestions of alternate ways that you can build the boat, something that we kind of have lost in more modern times. You know, you could just build this little tiny boat here. And the instructions are in pretty good shape. And this is definitely the old style of instructions where you've just got one sheet and there are only 7 steps to the entire 120 piece build. At least the box says it's 120 pieces. The Bricklink listing shows it as 133. And here at the bottom, it shows you how the weight's attached to the bottom and how this is supposed to be able to float in water. And it warns you not to put it in water more than 104 degrees. And for the final part of the haul, we got some more bonus pieces. I'm not sure what these were supposed to go to, but we got to go with our extra haul. We got an extra set of weights, so that's convenient. I suppose you could just use that hull to build whatever you want and it should float. We have this plate, which is unique in that it is 6 by 13, and it's the base of a tow truck that only appeared in 2 sets, and really just one set because it has different numbers for North America and Europe. It would be set 710 in North America or 382 in Europe as a tow truck with car from either 1973 or 1974, depending on your region of the world. Why it was in this set, I have no idea, but well, now I have one. And it also came with this. We see some other bricks attached. I just haven't taken them off, but this is a 6 by 24 red plate, which has appeared in a lot of sets, but it doesn't appear in any set I own, but it looks like it appeared in some 3-digit and 4-digit sets, so it doesn't seem to be a modern piece, but I thought that was interesting that that was just thrown into the bag. And you can tell it's, I don't know if it'll show here on the camera, but it's not very flat, so my guess is it's had a hard life or it's had some not quite perfect bricks put on it, but yeah, it's not flat. I don't know if it could be made flat by taking the pieces off, but well, finally, I want to give the boat one last look by seeing if it really does float. All right, we've got our water tank set up and an absolutely perfect weather day for February in Indiana. So let's start testing this boat. We're going to do our first float test. I'm going to use the spare hull first since there's no other pieces on it. And I've got the weights attached in the bottom to match what's in the instructions. And it is not centered, so I'm not sure if this will work because there's nothing on top of the boat, but let's just see if it floats. Well, it sure looks like it floats to me. So that's a good sign. Do we dare test the other one? Well, we can just look and see it is kind of listing a bit to the back, but then the weights are off-centered and there's no weight on the front to counter it. But let's see if we can test this with the other boat. All right, we got the full boat now, and let's see if it floats. Well, I would say that floats, at least after a few seconds. So I think that I'm very, very happy with what I've got so far. Now, I definitely am going to work on cleaning some of this up, and I think I am going to try and replace the damaged parts and maybe even try and get some correct parts for like this windshield here. And if I can find one, see if I can get one for that green piece at the top. Get one that actually has a closed top just so it matches the original. You can see the wind is carrying the boat a little bit. And one other thing I wanted to point out that I thought was unique about this build, and it drove me crazy when I was a kid, is the way these bushings are attached. Especially, I mean, this bushing piece has been around forever, but it's always been round on one side and had 4 indentations on the other. Well, this is the example of why it needs those 4 indentations. And it really does matter which way you put it on now. But because of this, to this day, I still look extra careful at instructions when attaching one of those bushings to a Technic axle to make sure I push it, to make sure I attach it in the correct direction. Because of this model, if I had it on wrong, it would not fit in between the studs on the plate and everything would just be off. So thanks for stopping by to check out my haul and this little blast from the past. And remember, today is a good day to build.